This weekend, we got a glimpse into who has sway in setting policy in the White House. Podcaster Joe Rogan visited the Oval Office after he got you-know-who to fast-track research into psychedelic drug treatments. Take a look.
Got a call from a number of people, including the great Joe Rogan, and he said, we have to do something about this. I said, so why would we wait 3 or 4 years to get it done? Let's get it done immediately. And it's called ibogaine treatment. Ibogaine. Remember the name. Is that pronounced relatively properly, would you say?
Yes.
I don't want to get it wrong. Ibogaine, because it's so important, and experienced an 80 to 90% reduction in symptoms of depression and anxiety within 1 month. Can I have some, please? I'll take some.
But not everyone who campaigned for him is having such good luck getting through. Caitlyn Jenner talked about how new passport policies are keeping her from traveling. Take a look.
This is a safety factor, okay? I can't travel internationally anymore, okay? I can't use my passport. I was in Mar-a-Lago 2 months ago, wrote a letter explaining all of this to him, how it's affecting me and a lot of other people. I haven't heard from him. He's kind of busy right now.
Okay, so what's going on? What is going on here? Did Caitlyn Jenner not realize that when they said they were going to put your natural birth biological sign on your passport, that included her as well? Did she think she had a pass? I mean, listen, you know, we always say at the table, you really better think about what you're voting for, because what's good for the goose seems to not be good for the gander, in your opinion. And yet we told you, this is what this means. And the question of why Joe Rogan is getting this pass-through is, you know, this is something they've been talking about for years, of using psychedelics to work on post-traumatic stress syndrome and many, many other things. So what is it because Caitlyn's a woman?
So listen, Caitlyn still supports Trump. That's what stood out to me. So I saw the clip of Joe Rogan in the White House, and I was like, because I listen to him pretty often, and I've seen that he's been more and more splitting with Trump, especially over the Iran war. And I had this little debate at my kitchen table with my husband this week, and I was saying, Trump is historically unpopular. And my husband actually pointed out and was accurate in the fact that he's historically unpopular for this point in his second term, but presidents have been more unpopular. George W. Bush, Harry Truman, Nixon, George H.W. Bush all got into the 20s. Trump's at about 37. So on the one hand, I think the argument that the MAGA base is fleeing in droves is a little overstated. But on the flip side, 37% is not winning you anything. You are not winning the midterms as Republicans if your president stands at a 37% approval rating. If you're running in 2028 to be the heir apparent to Trump, you're not winning if his approval rating is still at 37%. Right. But what is remarkable to me is these influencer types that still stand by him when he attacks them, when he betrays the things that they swore that they were for. Megyn Kelly has been going after him on the war in Iran, but then also said Trump could drop a nuke and I'd still vote Republican over Democrat. Tucker Carlson's been excoriating him, especially on attacking the faith community. I'd maybe vote for him again. And Joe Rogan hasn't said one way or the other, but I think he would vote for him again. We live in such a polarized moment that even when it impacts you, people are like weirdly not willing to switch party lines. It's bizarre to me.
Yeah, and I don't think it's as much about, you know, we were talking before the show about who has more of his ear. Is it a Joe Rogan or a Caitlyn Jenner? It's which issue suits Donald Trump better. Because as you said, he's suffering. What issue is going to get more people behind it? Mental health, working with vets. What's not going to get his base behind him is any trans issue, because that's what he wrote on, was anti-trans messaging. He's not, he flip-flops a lot. That is not an issue he's going to flip-flop on. But I do think it's interesting when you were asking about Caitlyn Jenner, she was renewing her passport, which is when she realized it. So I don't know at what point she thought he was ever going to help her out on that issue, considering how he ran for office.
Yeah.
On Caitlyn Jenner, I'm going to quote trans advocate Janetta Johnson, who said this in 2015. Jenner is a rich white bitch. She can pay for everything she needs, But I think she now needs to put some of that money back into the transgender community, as she has taken a lot. All these years, we have been abused and battered, yet she has used none of her power to help the community and bring about change. And so, Caitlyn Jenner, girl, cry me a river, let me play my little violin for you. Transgender, changing the marker on the passports is an executive order that he signed on day one.
Day one.
On day one. So if you think that he didn't know what he was doing, if you think he wasn't fulfilling a campaign promise, because as you say, he absolutely exploited this issue in order to get people to the polls. But I think there's a special place in hell for people who only care about themselves and don't care about the effect on others. If she's saying that this is a safety issue, traveling internationally with the wrong marker on her passport, imagine what the safety issue is for people who are not celebrities, who don't have access to the White House, and who don't have money.
It's also just kind of stupid policy. Like, I remember when this came out, actress Hunter Schafer put out a video basically saying for the first time she got a passport that identified her as male. Hunter's been identifying as a woman since her high school years. Mm-hmm. She arguably looks more female than I do. And I'm like, what is this meant to do? It's meant to make you embarrassed and feel uncomfortable when you go through TSA. How is that improving our nation's security? How is that streamlining things? How is that cutting red tape? Like, that is not an issue that I think in any way betters the day-to-day lives of the American people. But it's the fear-mongering he ran on, and he's not going to reverse.
It's also exposing, sorry, real quickly, it's also putting trans people at risk. When they go into countries that are not as accepting, you just literally uncovered them.
Correct.
As they enter the country.
That's the point.
And you know what is shameful right now?
What?
Trans people serving in the military, something that Donald Trump didn't do. He dodged the draft with the made-up bone spurs. Trans people serving in the military are being given paid leave, but not allowed to work. Yeah. That is shameful.
Well, it's also shameful, we're talking about what can be done for veterans. There's a lot he could be doing for the veterans, like maybe ending this illegal war so that people can come back and do what they need to do in the rest of their lives. I just, I don't care who has his ear, because it could be Bubba the Clown. It could be anybody. I just want him to do what's right for the country and for her people, us. We're the people that pay the taxes. We are the people that sit and watch when you destroy our house. We're the people that have to sit, because you're gonna come to us and you want more money. See, so there has to be a give and take. There has to be a give and take. And so far, it just looks like a lot of take to me. So we have decisions to make.